Good morning, folks. Just wait a few minutes for everybody to arrive. Okay, as people are coming in, let's go ahead and remember to get into the chat, put your name in to make sure that I can verify that you were here for the live session. If you're just coming in, don't forget to come into the live session and put your name into the chat. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. Today we're going to talk about the internet a little bit, what it is, what it's about, real quick on that. We're going to talk a little bit about cyberbullying, and that's what we're going to be doing today. Okay, so let me share with you my PowerPoint. This is the presentation here. Okay, can everyone see something that says history? All right, good.
Yes.
Okay. So today we're going to talk about understanding the internet, what it is, what it's about, and all that kind of good stuff. A little bit of history about the internet. It started off actually as a defense project. It was created back in the time during the Cold War, where America and the Soviet Union were not exactly friends. And in order to make sure that the world had the ability to continue to communicate, even though certain direct lines of communication were cut. For example, if some Russian spy were to come along and blow up telephone lines in a certain area, the Department of Defense wanted to have a system where the communication would automatically reroute itself through other lines to try and find its way to the place that it's supposed to go. So they created a project with the help of a few colleges and stuff like that. The DARPA, which is the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, gave these colleges a lot of money, put a lot of time and effort into it, and worked with a bunch of universities to create the prototype system for what eventually would become the internet. So yeah, its initial purpose was to enable researchers and military personnel to communicate in the event of emergency. Somewhere around the 1990s, the Cold War was more or less over. The Russians had been defeated, ha ha ha, and being victorious and having this really cool thing at our disposal where people could communicate over long distances through their computers, we kind of sort of decided, hey, you know what? Let's hand this over to the civilian world and see what they can do with it. And that was a big, giant mistake. No, I'm just kidding. It's great. It's wonderful. It gave us the internet as we know it today. Soon after the mid-90s, a lot of companies got into this stuff. They really researched it and put effort into it. And it basically took off. And wow, what we have today. Now you can, be in the middle of a pandemic, still continue your learning, and we can all be at home nice and safe. While we are trying to get through this. Okay, so what is the internet? Essentially, the fancy schmancy definition is a worldwide network that connects several million businesses, schools, research foundations, individuals, and other networks. Okay, that's the internet. The whole setup of connections and networks and everything, the full spectrum of that is the internet. Anyone with access can log in, communicate via email, and exchange and share various types of information. Okay, the internet is basically a network of the linking. A network is the linking of computers and other peripheral devices. So you might have a network at home if you've got like a Wi-Fi connection, which allows your phones and your computer and your printer to all talk to each other. Then you have a network. Okay. A couple of different kinds of networks. There is a remote network called a WAN, which is a wide area network, which covers great distances. For example, our school district has a WAN. Basically, there's a WAN that connects all of the buildings on McCollum, and there is another WAN for the entire school district that connects Carroll Bell and McCollum and Terrell Wells, and that's a WAN of, you might say, like it's a WAN of WANs, because they have like all the individual little WANs connected to each other in the big one. But if you get down to, like, say, the classroom level, that's called a local area network. It connects computers within a building or a room or something like that. We used to have something back in the day. We used to have something called LAN parties, where us, big time nerds would get together, and we'd get all computers all connected together, and then we'd play games like Quake, which is like the modern day or the old school Call of Duty kind of stuff, where we'd get all connected and then we'd shoot each other to pieces repeatedly, just for fun, for hours on end. So that was called a LAN party, and it was just basically a local area network, a set of computers that were all connected to each other in a local small area like a room or a building. Okay, accessing the internet. Nowadays, most people are accessing the internet at home by using a modem. that allows them to access servers from a public or private internet service provider. So an ISP, an internet service provider, that's your Comcast cable company, your AT&T digitals, and stuff like that. In the old days, you used to be able to connect through your phone line, and you would connect through companies like AOL or Netscape or something like that. Okay, access is usually also available through large organizations and corporations while at work or at school. And today, modern technology even allows you to connect to this kind of stuff through your mobile phone if you've got the right kind of plan and the right kind of phone. Okay, what do you need? Well, monitor keyboard and mouse is a good place to start. You need a computer that's got a modem or a network card. Okay, modems are old school, really old school, as we found out last time. Network cards, much more modern. You need a connection point like a cable line or some kind of network access point. You need a service provider. You can't just have a computer and a network card and just plug it into the wall and say, whoosh, off I go. You got to pay somebody, basically, to provide that service. You need software programs to browse the web. If you just have a computer, you don't necessarily have access to the web. You do need programs like Chrome or Internet Explorer or Edge or something like that to be able to actually look at the internet and the web. Okay? Or if you're using your phone, you got to have the right kind of phone, a smartphone with a service plan that allows internet access. Not everybody has those. People forget that. It's like not everybody's got a smartphone. I know it seems like everybody's got one, but some people still don't. Okay, common uses. Using it for email for work and personal communication, or finding information through the World Wide Web. So emails. Email is a communication system for exchanging messages and attaching files. Email can be sent to anyone in the world as long as both parties have access to the internet and an internet address to identify themselves with. When you put together an email address, it's got several parts. First off, the first part, whoopsies, like this Joe Smith part right here, that is a username that identifies a specific person at a specific site. Okay, so you're going to go to a site and you've got to ask for the person by name. The second part, after the little @ symbol, which is Shift 2. Shift 2 on your keyboard gives you a little @ symbol. And this part after that is the domain name. Okay, it says what person or individual group or something like that, what site is this person who you've identified in the username, where are they at? For examples are like Yahoo, Gmail, your MyHISD, that is a domain name. MyHISD is a domain name run by our school district. Okay, the last 3 letters refer to the name of a network, for example, like .com. Okay, so Yahoo, that's the domain name. .com identifies what kind of domain it is, what kind of internet website is it. Okay, com was the more or less original one. It just stands for commercial. Okay, so .com is a commercial site. .edu is an education or education-related site. Like a lot of colleges and universities use edu. .gov is a government site. Okay, like for example, tx.gov. That is the domain for the state of Texas and all official business from the state of Texas. If you go to a site that's purporting to be the state of Texas and it doesn't have this .gov on the end, you might not actually be dealing with the actual, no kidding, state of Texas website. Okay, .mil is a military site. My boat that I was on in the military, the USS West Virginia, it had a .mil site. You can actually go on the internet and find the site for the USS West Virginia, and it will have a .mil on the end of it. .net is a network provider. They made .nets because a lot of the .coms were already taken up. Same thing for .org. It indicates an organization, usually a non-profit organization. Okay? Now, the World Wide Web is different than the internet. It is within the internet, but it is not all of the internet. Okay? The World Wide Web is a user-friendly system for finding information on the internet through the use of hypertext and hypermedia. The World Wide Web consists of a huge collection of documents called web pages. They can include graphics, sound, movies, using a table of contents or menu format. A website is a university, government agency, company, or individual that stores web pages for you to view and or interact with. Yes, I see in the chat that people are arriving. Let's go ahead and make sure that we put in our names into the chat to make sure you get credit for being here in the live stream. Go ahead and put in your names. All right, web address is what makes up a web address. Simple and easy. Just like your email address. Sorry. Just like your email address, your web address has a particular setup to it. This is called a Uniform Resource Locator, or a URL. Some people call it URLs. Okay? The first part is the HTTP part. Basically says we're using Hypertext Transfer Protocol, which is a fancy internet term basically saying this is the language we're using to set up the structure of the web page. Basically HTTP is the way the messages are transferred over a network. It just says, this is how we're going to talk to you, other person. And they go, oh, okay. The double slash tells the computer to look for a specific address on the internet. I fly SWA way, or whatever it's called. That part is the specific website that you're going to. Okay, it's location or website. There is something called a domain name registry, and this part of the name, whenever you type in this part of the name, it's actually not that. The internet address is a series of numbers with periods in between those numbers. And there's something called a domain name registry, which says, hey, if somebody types in iFlySWA, that means go to 120.16.204-3. Okay? But this iFlySWA part is the specific location or website that they're talking about. And then, of course, you have the thing that you had before, the top-level domain, which is the .com or whatever. Okay? All right. As I said, HTML. This HTTP stuff right here, okay, Hypertext Transfer Protocol, basically is something that works with the language called HTML, Hypertext Markup Language. It was created to read each other's internet files. Before the internet was really cooking, they had a lot of people trying to do a lot of different things at those universities and military stuff, and they kind of had to settle on a particular way of talking. If everybody was going to talk to each other, they kind of had to agree on how to speak. I don't know if you know this or not, but every airline in the world, every airline pilot, and every single airline tower in the world, no matter where they are, they all speak English. And that's very important because they have to communicate with each other to tell each other where to land and when to land and stuff like that. And if you've got a pilot that speaks Italian and he's landing in Turkmenistan where they only speak Turkmen, you're going to have an issue because they don't speak the same language, and it's going to be like, when do I land? And the other guy's like, I don't understand you. He's like, I'm running out of fuel. Tell me where I can land. And the guy's like, still don't know what you're saying. So actually, airline pilots all know English, and airline towers all speak English as well. That way, everybody in the world can communicate no matter where the plane is flying from. So the same kind of thing happened on the internet. They all basically decided to use the same kind of language so that everybody's internet pages all work the same. Okay, and that's known as HTML. Okay, it's basically a language that's created to standardize the structure of how web pages look. And this language can also create links between web pages. Hypertext links are usually the ones that are a different color than the other text on the page. And they also have the little hand that comes up whenever it's time to click on something. Okay? There are also other languages that go into this. Hypertext markup language. HTML basically is real simplistic in some respects, and they kind of found out that it's not great at doing certain things. So they came up with other languages like CSS and JavaScript to supplement it and to help it with colors and backgrounds and putting in like videos and pictures and everything like that in a certain way, certain sizes. So those two programs, CSS and JavaScript, they help the HTML to make your websites super pretty. Okay? So what do you need to get on the web? Well, you got to have a web browser. Browsers are programs that allow you to view and explore information. Examples of browsers are Google Chrome, the program Google Chrome, and Microsoft Edge. Those are programs on your computer that translate the HTML into something that you can see on the screen. Okay? All websites begin with a home page. It's basically like a page that's just got more or less the starting point. It's got all the things that you can go to, table of contents and all that stuff. It's an introduction to the web page. And then most of the pages on the web are connected. This lets you jump from one page to another And if you do that a lot, it's called surfing. Clicking your mouse on a link takes you to a new page with related information. Okay, search engines are software programs that surf the net for a given topic of information, catalog the results, and display descriptions of suggested websites. This is your Google kind of web page. Search engines, like Google, basically go through and try and find the information that you're looking for if you don't know where to go originally. The problem with some of these search engines is something called an algorithm. An algorithm is something that tells the computer how to search for the information, what stuff is worth looking at and putting on the list, and what isn't. Google and Yahoo and Bing and others, like search engine type companies like DuckDuckGo, they all have an algorithm that figures out what's the most important stuff to bring to the top of the list and then categorize it from there. But the deal is that sometimes those results can be skewed based on how the algorithm is programmed. For example, I'm not saying this to be a political, statement or something like that, but there are people who have accused Google and other companies of like doctoring their algorithm so that certain information does not show up in their searches. And there's also something called search engine optimization, which is something that a website will do in order to increase the opportunity for Google to find its page and make it one of the most important top-level kind of sites that it finds. So search engines are the ones that find the information that you want if you're looking for certain kinds of information. So what do we use the World Wide Web for? Okay, well, we can use it to retrieve information and research projects and stuff like that, which was its original intention. An outstanding side effect that was eventually developed is the ability to do online shopping, which is really great for somebody like me. My child was born early in the NICU, which is the place where babies who are born too early go, and he's been in there for a few months. And so obviously, if like a baby's born normally, it takes 9 months, and like around month 7 or month 8, the mothers usually decide to get together and throw a little party, and that's called a baby shower. But my kid was born like at the 6-month point before they ever had a baby shower, so we're like, what do we do? Also, it's COVID, and Amazon, they have a thing where you can register gifts on Amazon as part of a registry, and then people can buy those gifts and have Amazon send it to you so that A, you don't have to have a party with a bunch of people in your face, B, you don't have to go to the store to shop for stuff, or C, you don't have to go to a place and pick it up. So Amazon, the magic of the internet, allows you to tell people what kind of stuff you want. It allows them to order that stuff if they want to give you a present, and it allows them to know where to deliver stuff to, so that you don't have to like go out and get coronavirus. Okay, so online shopping is a really awesome thing that was developed for the World Wide Web once it got turned over to civilian use. You can also use it to meet people around the world, which is a lot of fun and can broaden your horizons and tell you all kinds of things about people you didn't know. And sometimes that can be great, and sometimes that can be painful because not everybody around the world has the same values that you do. And finding out about that can be interesting, but it can also, get you in trouble sometimes and cause problems for you. Entertainment. You can get your movies. You can get your music. You can get games to play. All kinds of awesome stuff like that. You can watch videos. There are lots of different games and a variety of entertainment things that you can do online that is made available because the internet is a thing. Okay, now let's talk turkey. Who pays for this wonderful thing? A lot of people actually don't know that who pays for the internet. Oh, by the way, real quick, if you haven't done so already, let's go ahead and get into the chat. Put your name in to make sure you get credit for attending the live session if you haven't done so already. Okay, who pays for this stuff? It's a wonderful invention, but nothing in the world is free. You do. Ha ha ha. You pay for your connection every month to your ISP, your internet service provider. That internet service provider is going to give you access to the internet, but they themselves have to pay for their access to the internet, and they pay for access to what is called the backbone. Okay, there are places that have a lot of computers, and I mean like football stadiums filled with multiple levels of floors of computers that serve all of the traffic going through the internet, and they make sure that like all the internet volume goes from point A to point B. Those places are called backbones. A couple of like some universities maintain some backbones, but mostly it is now falling to like the civilians, so to speak, to get the backbones maintained. So companies that have a very vested interest in keeping the internet running, for example, Amazon, like we mentioned before, Google, Microsoft, a lot of companies like that will maintain these sites that basically handle all of the internet traffic, and make sure that your email goes from point A to point B. Okay, so that's that's called a backbone, an internet backbone. Now, ISPs pay not only for access to the backbones, but also to register the names of their websites and all kinds of fun stuff like that. So you pay the ISP. The ISP pays the company that maintains the backbone and maintains the list of server names, domain names for the websites themselves, and that's how the internet gets paid for. Also, those stupid commercials that you watch all the time on the internet, on the internet websites that you watch. I hate those darn commercials, especially the ones that pop up on YouTube, and it's like you can't click through them. I'm like, no, don't make me watch commercials. But they're important because that's how people get paid, and if people didn't get paid, people wouldn't do cool stuff on the internet that you like watching. Okay? All right. So that is it as far as that is concerned. Okay? Now, back to Mr. Lincoln talking to you. Normally at this time during the school year, I would have a video that I get from the library, and it's kind of a dated video, and I'm thinking about getting a new video. But currently, I am not at school, and I'm not at the library, and so the video is not available to me currently. I would just like to take a few minutes to talk about what we would have watched in the video, and that is cyberbullying. Now, some of you are rolling your eyes and you're like, sir, we know about cyberbullying. We were born into the year 2000. We were born with the internet, sir. We know everything. I know you know everything, but here's the deal. Cyberbullying is a very serious thing. Do you know that we actually have a law on the books in the state of Texas that makes cyberbullying a no-kidding, actual go-to-jail crime? It's called David's Law. Okay, you can look it up on the internet. David's Law is a very serious thing, and it resulted because a certain person, obviously named David, was harassed on the internet. It made him extremely upset, and he chose to end his life instead of dealing with that kind of nonsense. Okay? It's very important for you to understand that being on the internet is both a blessing and a curse. Okay? You have access to the entirety of human knowledge at your disposal, and you also have people who do nothing with their lives except cause other people problems. Okay? And flood their mentions with all kinds of stupid nonsense that is mentally distressing and makes people upset. Now, we all know what Tyler, the Creator, said. He said, just get off, get out of here. You don't have to be on the internet. Like cyberbullying is not a thing. But Tyler's kind of wrong. Cyberbullying is a thing. Cyberbullying is something that is somewhat dangerous to certain people. And you have to be able to understand that A, cyberbullying is not something that you should do to other people, and B, cyberbullying is something that you need to be aware of and to keep yourself from getting in trouble with. The video describes a few different kids who got in trouble through cyberbullying and sexting. Okay, one little girl. she's the funniest one on the thing because she talks with this Alabama accent and she says all kinds of things like this. But she basically describes that she had a boyfriend, and the boyfriend was pressuring her to send her some nudes, and she did it. And he told her and he promised her that he wasn't going to show anybody else, but That's a no, 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 no. He did. Of course he did. Of course he sent those nudes to other people. And she's underage, which makes that child pornography. And so he was facing some very serious charges. And she was also facing some serious harassment from her friends whenever they found out about it. Now, you may think that your friends are cool and your friends would laugh it off, but the common saying is that the internet's forever. And if you think about it, that person who sent it to the other people, they sent it to other people, they sent it to other people, they sent it to a few other people. And here's the deal, folks. You don't know how far that spreads. You don't know who that goes to. And if you really want to be grossed out, there's probably some old pervy dude who's looking at some picture that you took that you thought was just going to be with your boyfriend. Some old, weird, fat pervert sitting in his basement in the dark is looking at your nudes. Ew, gross. Okay? Angel says, I don't have friends. Angel, that is a problem that I'm sure will be corrected someday. But don't worry about it. Worry about this. The internet's forever. Those pictures are circulating around somewhere. The only way to stop that kind of stuff from happening is to never take pictures in the first place. You may think you're taking measures to protect yourself, but here's the thing. Hackers happen, and there are people in the world who can get access to your computer no matter what you do. There's information saying that everybody in the world has been hacked at least 7 times, or the information is available to get hacked. Okay? And you may not get hacked now, but think about this. We have this thing called the Internet of Things. Okay? Nowadays, all kinds of devices are hooked into the internet that you wouldn't even expect to be hooked into the internet. One of the things that I was looking at in the baby registry was the ability to buy appliances that had Wi-Fi connections. And I'm talking about like your baby's swing, your baby's rocker, your little chair rocker, the baby monitors. This is the big one. Baby monitors were known at a certain time to have very weak passcode security for their internet connections. And some ingenious hacker figured out that baby monitors can be easily hacked. And so he decided it would be really funny one day to find the ones that had the two-way communication system where they can talk to each other and there's a little speaker, and a guy, like, he went and hacked into the computer and it was in a 14-year-old girl's bedroom. And he started talking to her through the internet, like through the internet connection for her Wi-Fi home security setup. It was like he was really messing with her. He was telling her like all kinds of weird, nasty stuff, and like asking her to get undressed and stuff, if I remember correctly. And it was like, then it's like he told them they were Satan or something like that. Yeah, it was the weirdest thing. Like people, like they can watch you getting dressed, you know. So like a lot of people really like looked into the security of those things real recently, but for a while it was a loophole. There was actually a person who was a hacker who wanted to cause problems on Minecraft servers, competitive Minecraft servers, and they like hijacked a lot of these things. Like there's a bunch of refrigerators that now have monitors on them that can access the internet. There's baby monitors. They have basic computers that allow them to communicate through the internet. Some hacker figured out that he could get access to those types of computers and cause them all to slave up and become servers to his computer, which allowed him to do multiple requests onto the Minecraft server website, which blocked the access of the kid he was playing against, causing him lag, preventing him from doing any work. And they found out that they could slave together about 1 million other computers to all start sending traffic and what's called a DDoS attack. They were using like all of these little baby monitor cameras to stop people from being able to use the internet. You know, so other people have been. There was an incident with a celebrity where her nudes on her private Google chat or her private Google cloud server stuff was hacked because they had cloned her cell phone information access, and they put it on a new phone, and then they used that cloned phone to go into her Gmail account or whatever it was and find all the pictures that she had been saving on a secure cloud server. And that's how she got her nudes leaked to the internet, which is, you know, I mean, you really think it's safe, okay? So best way to avoid that kind of stuff, folks, is to not take those naughty, naughty pictures in the first place, okay? Be sure that you are protecting yourself. Don't engage in that stuff. How do you even learn that stuff? Asks Julian. Being very bored. I'm just kidding. Hacking is a skill that requires a lot of study and a lot of concentration, or just knowing the right places to go and having a lot of time on your hands. It's one of those things where it's like, if you have enough time and enough resources, you can get that kind of stuff done. So be safe. Another one of the kids was this kid from, and he's the next most favorite of mine. He's from Boston, so he talks with this thick Boston accent. His dad was on there. The kid had like gotten one of those email sex messages with a girl's nudes, and he passed it on to his friend because he thought it was hilarious. Well, they found out about it, and they were going to prosecute this kid for possessing and distributing child pornography. Except they're from Boston, so it was child pornography. And the dad said that the kid was he was like going to jail basically for the most, like they were like seriously putting charges together to prosecute him. And then they did a plea deal and everything like that. And so now this 16-year-old kid is on probation as being like a sex offender. Like literally, like, you know, you can get in trouble and have to register as a sex offender. And then for the rest of your life, you got to go around to new neighborhoods that you move to. And you have to tell people, hi, I'm a registered sex offender. Please be aware of that and don't come to my house on Halloween to get candy. You know? So it's a very dangerous situation, not only for you, the potential embarrassment, the potential headaches of getting your information spread across the internet in ways that you don't want, but it's also possible for you, person who like receives or takes these photos or whatever, and you might also get in trouble with the law for child pornography stuff. Yes, Angel, that is not something that you are legally allowed to do. You can't you can't do that. You have to let the police handle that kind of business. Okay, so be very careful. The best way to prevent that kind of stuff is to not engage in it. The best way to keep your mental health and mental sanity is to take breaks from the internet frequently. If you have issues with cyberbullying, if somebody is giving you a real hard time and you've told them to stop and you don't like that kind of business anymore, you need to, especially if it's something related to somebody who's at school, you need to tell the people at school. You need to talk to the vice principals. They will investigate this. If you can provide screenshots, that would be great. Does everybody know how to do screenshots? Okay, I'm hoping everybody does. If not, there's a thing at the bottom of the bar on your computer where it says type here to search, and you can do something called snip. There's a thing called a snipping tool. Okay, the snipping tool is going to be replaced soon by something called a snip and sketch. But the snipping tool allows you to take pictures of things on the internet. So, for example, if this is something that's some kind of harassment on a site where things disappear after a while, you know which sites those are. It's like like your Snapchats and stuff like that. It's great. Yeah, you think it's gone, but no. Somebody can snap those. Somebody can snip those pictures. Somebody can do a screenshot, and that information that you thought was just going to poof go away on Snapchat actually stays forever. But it can also be a tool for you if somebody is harassing you online in something like Snapchat or any other site. You can use a snipping tool to save pictures of the harassment, and you can make sure that you turn those over to the appropriate authorities at school or perhaps to the police if it's significant enough. And you can actually get those people in trouble and send them to jail if that is something that you want to do. Okay. Now, that is more or less what we're going to do. Tomorrow, you will have an assignment related to cyberbullying. We'll be talking about an unfortunate case of a young lady who did some unfortunate things, and you will see what happened there. And then I want your thoughts. People, I know that this is kind of a topic, and some of you don't really want to think about it. If you have serious problems with this topic and you would like to tell me that this is something that is harmful to you, please give me an email. Let me know. But for the most part, I want everybody to tomorrow check it out and find the current event, read the article, and do a current event on it. But here's the deal, folks. Some of you did not get it the first time. You must have opinions. No saying, I don't have an opinion, or this doesn't affect me, or something like that. Think of ways it affects you. Formulate an opinion. Even if it has to be like you thinking of a future version of yourself who would have these problems. Okay? Don't tell me that this doesn't affect me now because I'm 16 or like something like that. It does. You are affected. Tell me how. Tell me your opinions about it. Okay? All right. We'll see you guys later. School is starting for some of us next week, Monday. Like some people will be going to the classrooms. So be ready for that. Okay? Let's go ahead and leave the meeting. Everybody pop out. See you later. Bye, folks. See you later. Go ahead and log off. Bye. See you later. Log off the computer now. Everybody go ahead and leave. Sierra, Isabella, Aaliyah, Michelle, Leonardo. Time to go. Adia, Thomas, let's go. Let's log out. All right, time to boot. Let's go ahead and leave the chat, people. Let's go. See you later. Bye, folks. See you later.